What's up, y'all? Sunday morning here in Noe Valley, San Francisco. We're about to get an epic FSD test ride with none other than Omar from Mars himself, the FSD guru. And we were gonna meet up with him, and he's like, yo, tell me where you're at. I'm gonna send a Waymo to pick you up. So we're waiting for our fully self-driving Waymo to pick us up, to take us to Omar, so we can self-drive in his Tesla and compare the two. It's about to be an epic Sunday, and let's see what happens. Waymo's here. We just texted Omar. He's gotta unlock it for us.
It is.
Oh, wait. Ever Waymo Ride. Here, I'll open it for you. Dude.
Good afternoon, Omar. To begin your ride, press the Start Ride button in your app.
This is out of control,
So
bro.
I can click the Start Ride button back here.
Wait, should I click it up here?
Yeah.
Dude.
Heading to 2,145.
Bro, this is out of control. The future is here. Dude, shout out to Omar who just called us this Waymo. Like, what? Dude, and it's pretty clean and crispy. Wait, let me adjust my seat.
Dude, what type of car is this? A Jaguar?
Electric Jaguar. I-Pace.
It feels like the future.
Wow. Dude, this is... Check out the steering wheel. Like, it's I've never been in a car that self-drives without a Tesla. And for what it's worth, we've been seeing these all around and have been hella impressed at the driving that they're doing, right? Like, we saw it do some crazy moves.
Yeah, I mean, in the way that I just pulled over there, like went past where we were having coffee, pulled over to the right, like super just like sophisticated.
I mean, it feels super smooth, and I'm honestly kind of like already like, this is way better than the Ubers that I've been getting with human pilots so far.
Proceeding on.
Ooh, and you see that? There's like another there's a Zoox up there with all the sensors. I think it's hard to see, but dude, this is, I feel like it's going hella well. And we can click pull over. Wait, I don't want to play music because I don't want to mess up the rights, but it looks like it has music. You can check this out. Like, pretty dope UI. You can pick music. Should we support and just be like, this is such a dope? Or you can call rider support. I mean, I'm kind of freaking out right now. Like I gotta send a Snapchat to my homies. I'm in a self-driving Waymo. Like, what? I don't know how this isn't a bigger deal, honestly. Like, I'm kind of freaking out. And I'm like, bro, Waymo can do this? Like,
I feel like nobody's talking about how crazy this is.
yeah, like, this is maybe we're just super nerdy and think this is cool, but I'm freaking out.
No, and this is a game changer.
Do you think they're watching us? Oh, there's a camera right there, I think.
Yeah.
What's up? Smooth ride. Like, I feel super comfortable. The AC was on to 69. Like, what's up? Like, it just feels crispy. Like, maybe I can, like, charge my phone. Dude, no way. No way, dude.
Phone chargers?
Or, I don't know what this is. But I guess this is a USB-C phone charger.
Because it's
They
Waymo.
would have Android. That's hilarious.
I mean, I've never been in a car that's driving itself. I mean, it's like a whole different experience. Neither of us are driving. We're just hanging out. I'm sipping my coffee. You're like hanging out. It's just like such a different experience. There's no Uber driver. Like, we're just getting transported around the city. Like, we can both do our thing. Like, Gally and I have been driving around the SF, and like, I'm whipping, like, Gally's on his phone. It's like such a different vibe. Changes the entire transportation experience in the city.
It's like fun. No parking.
No parking. I mean, imagine when these things just charge themselves and just like go around. Like, you could just see a future where like so few people drive after this. Like, this is just such a better way to get around.
Crazy SF stuff happening. Like, look at this guy. This guy has got some crazy rig on his thing, and he's like, is he self-biking?
Yeah, what's going on there?
Like, and we're self-driving. Like, This is insane, dude.
This is wild.
Stoke levels are off the charts right now.
Silicon Valley is doing its thing. Silicon Valley is just crazy, dude. The tech out here is everywhere.
Waymo Ride has been a 10 out of 10 so far. Feeling hella safe. Like, as smooth as could be. Beautiful day in San Francisco. Like, I don't know. I feel like I've given Waymo a lot of hate, and everyone clowns on Google. But like
Almost at your
this,
drop-off.
this
Check
is
the
like,
app for walking directions.
like the UI is super smooth. Like, look how beautiful this is, dude. SF is such a beautiful city. If I'm in a normal Uber, I'm like, I feel like they're just not trying to go that fast, and I feel like they could go they're just like, go around that guy or get in the better lane. Like, the Waymo does all of that. Like, look at this guy right here, sees him, not too rattled about it. I think there's something about it with no one being in the front seat that's magical. Like, when you have the experience of it's truly like, I am not liable. Like, I have nothing going on. Woo! All right, we made it. Taking our garbo out. Thank you, Waymo. Appreciate it. Be nice to us in the future. Dude, and look at like the top thing going hard. I mean, the Jaguar was a smooth ride, electric car. I mean, thanks, bro. I feel like we're having like the best day ever. Now we get Omar to pick us up and do like FSD driving, like nothing better than this. Yeah. Now, worth pointing out, check out this Tesla right here. So this is relying on vision. Just 8 cameras all around the Tesla. Our Waymo, you saw all those little sensors and widgets on it. It's buzzing and whirling. You know, on a $70,000 I-Pace, you're looking at a $40,000. You know, it cost Tesla $25,000 or $30,000 to build that fully self-driving car, but Waymo's is maybe $100,000, $150,000. So when we're looking at the technology being comparable, it's also important to remember the cost. So that's an interesting component, but cannot wait. Stay tuned, we're about to see the Tesla. One little minor correction here. The Waymo dropped us off half a block away from where we wanted to go. So -2 points for Waymo though. And I've been hearing that happens sometimes. So it doesn't take you exactly where you want to go sometimes. I don't know what's up with that, but we were dropped off half a block away, but not a big deal, but just for the record.
Start a new chat. Take this sketch, give me HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code for the site. And there's the code. Literally any kid could design a website just by drawing it.
It's crazy.
See that? Pictures of cats. Cat 1, cat 2, cat 4. You're writing the JavaScript. Upload a cat button. See that? I picked that all up from my handbook.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
Dude.
Omar in the flesh, about to FSD drive. Get ready, folks.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what FSD version is? Do you know?
I'm actually on an older version. I'm on 11.4.4.
Okay.
So,
No
not the
judgment.
latest, but it's still pretty good.
Is this the new red?
Yeah, ultra red.
Ultra, dude, this is going hard. Long range Model S.
Yeah. It looks even better in person than on camera.
Yeah, I mean, our lighting, we're in like a dark garage, but it still looks really dope. The FSD legend Omar, and I'm gonna interview you the whole time and just ask you random questions. Yoke Model S. And you were saying this is good because then you can see the FSD visuals are up there now?
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious how that works. Like, you
See
have
that?
2 screens?
Yeah, so you can see where the cars are. They're over there.
Yeah.
So you think about it, this thing isn't really steering the car. This thing is actually steering the car.
Yeah.
You took the Waymo, now let's see how FSD compares.
Yeah, can't wait.
Take me to Coit Tower.
Wow.
So that's all you do. You say where you want to go, you press the button, one button, and that's it.
Yoke? Dude, this is epic. So, do you notice it getting much better?
Yeah, I mean, this is the old version. This is 11.4.4.
Why do you, like, how old is that?
I don't know, a few months old maybe. But I'm on hardware 4, so this is the latest generation autopilot hardware.
Wow.
It's significantly faster, but it's also a little bit behind in the software in some ways. That's why I couldn't get the latest one, because this is a new car.
Oh, so it's not like you were lazy. It's just like,
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're going to send me the latest build when they can, but the car's just too new for that right now. It's not supported by the latest build. So this is actually behind the latest FSD beta, and it's still pretty damn good. And it's obviously behind V12, which is basically a complete rewrite of the system.
Yeah, what's all the hype with V12?
Yeah.
Because I feel like you always hear like they're rewriting the system.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about software, is you can always rewrite the system. You can always think of something better. A lot of people just sort of project linearly. They go, okay, well, this is how fast it's been getting better, so this is how fast it's going to get better in the future. But they forget about these sort of paradigm shifts that happen that can just completely change everything. And end-to-end is one of those. I mean, you hear about what Elon was just telling Lex. He's like, we never taught it to read signs. We never taught it to pull over. We never taught it to do anything explicitly the way we had to write all this code for planning and control before. We just basically showed it videos, and it picked up all the rules of driving just from watching people drive by itself. So this is, you know, like, throw away everything you've been working on, all the sort of like finessing with the code, trying to get it to behavior right. Just throw that all away. It can actually just figure it out itself. Trying to teach it how to drive was just the wrong approach.
And this might be a new question, but like, how does that work? So how does it know to stop at a stop sign if nobody ever told it that a stop sign means stop? Is it following the humans?
Well, it's kind of like LLMs, right? We were just playing with ChatGPT, and you saw how, you know, incredible the capabilities of that thing were.
Mm-hmm.
But it started with a really simple function, which was just given a text, predict the next word.
Yeah.
And figure out what the likely next word is. And all they do is they take the question, then they run it through the LLM, they get the next word. Then they run it through the LLM again, they get the next word again. And they just do that over and over. And that's why you see, like, it kind of looks like it's typing everything out. So similarly, they start with a really simple function with this thing. They say, okay, just look at all the steering wheel and pedal data we have coming out of the car. Because in essence, you have all this labeled data from humans. They're all operating the steering wheel and the pedals, right?
Like intervening every second.
Check this out. This guy's stopped, and so it wants to go around him, but it's also being cautious. It sees these guys coming. See how it's proceeding slowly because it sees all of these cars?
And that's like a total human move. Like, it has to basically decide to go illegally into the other lane.
It could have been more human.
Like, it did have a kind of sudden stop there.
So this is a really tough intersection to get through. There's a ton of pedestrians here, a ton of cars.
Four-way stop.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's funny because people are so nonchalant about the Waymo. Like, when we're in the Waymo, they see nobody's driving it, and they're like, whatever. You know, like,
it's pretty normal here now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
People have gotten pretty used to it. So let's see what's gonna happen.
And you're not gonna like juice it, because I used to be like,
if somebody behind me starts getting annoyed, then I will juice it.
And that means like hit the gas to basically tell it to go.
But I'm gonna wait, and you know, there may just never be a chance to go if I don't like give it a little push. Like, you see just how many people are walking.
And what mode do you have? Do you have like an aggressive
It's
mode
on assertive mode, so this is the most assertive setting.
Okay.
Now you got this bus coming. This van's behind me. Let's see. Okay, come on. Go for it.
Come on. And it's got this weird guy, like this guy with like all his gear kind of like almost where we're supposed to turn. So I feel like that's like...
Okay, I'm just maybe going to give it an accelerator push, because otherwise it'll never go.
Yeah. So how does the Waymo, are they allowed to have nobody in the car and it operate? Like, you know?
Well, the primary advantage that's different from this is mapping. So they have everything mapped. When you see the visualization in the Waymo, it's actually not coming all from the perception system. A lot of it's already pre-mapped. So they're able to do that. They're able to take all the LiDAR sensors, and they're able to actually localize the position of the car to centimeter level accuracy, much better than GPS can give you. So they know exactly where the car is, they know exactly where all the lane lines are, and they basically just don't go anywhere where they know they have an issue. And so
Interesting. So that's why it like didn't drop us off right where we wanted to go.
Exactly. You had to walk a couple minutes afterwards because it wouldn't go exactly 100% of the way there. But that's the advantage of this thing, is this is like a pure AI system. There's no mapping here other than just like normal street maps. It's just basically driving with computer vision, just taking the cameras as inputs and driving based on that.
But if I was gonna give like a devil's advocate hot take there, it's like, why is Tesla so picky about making it cameras only? And then like on some respects from the user experience, that appears to be suffering. Like, is that a cost thing? Like, whoa, that was crazy. But you know what I mean? Like, do you think Tesla's move to be so like we're only using cameras will eventually, like, is that gonna pay off to be the 100% right move?
Yeah, because if you think about it, if there's something that you don't need on the car to actually achieve autonomy, and you have it, then you're just raising the cost of autonomy for no reason. Like, you can always add that on as an extra benefit, but it's ultimately going to come down to unit economics like anything else. If I'm going to use the service, I want it to have a low wait time. If I want it to have a low wait time, there needs to be a lot of cars. And if there needs to be a lot of cars, I need to be able to mass produce them at a low cost and get a ton of them out onto the street so the service can actually work. If you're acquiring people...
Oh. Holy shit. You just blew through that stoplight?
Yeah. Oh, that wasn't good.
Holy fuck. Dude, you remember when we did our last video like this and they had all the articles that got written about like how shitty, like...
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Dude, that was, I was a little freaked out right there, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that wasn't good. Holy shit, what's going on here? This is not good.
Wow, this is crazy.
Alright, hold on a second, let me look at the cameras.
Oh, mommy.
Okay, yeah, I think they're fine.
I just want to see, there's one in the front too, right?
No.
None in the front. Oh, that's the one in the front. I mean, the car is looking really badass, I gotta say. Like, this is looking, right?
The interior is insane. Looks beautiful.
All right, Tesla, step up, bro. Step up. This is gonna be embarrassing. I've been shitting on Waymo for years.
I know. They actually launched. Well, actually, you know, you need an invite, of course. You can't just have anybody take it. But obviously, the rides are just,
Like subsidized? Or what were you gonna say?
Well, I mean, no, I mean, they're just good every time.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. No, it was hella impressive and
Yeah.
smooth. How much did that cost? It was like a 20-minute ride.
Let's see.
It was like a 30-minute ride, 25-minute ride.
It was $22.56.
Oh, nice. So kind of pretty much like an Uber, maybe even a little cheaper.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I turn this off for a while until we get hot?
Oh, don't turn it off. I mean, we're gonna get hot quick.
Oh, okay.
But you can turn it low.
Or turn it low, so might be. So what do you think the hardware, because I was thinking another interesting component is like the Model 3 is going to cost like 30 grand. You know, it costs Tesla to make it with all the hardware to do this. The Waymo, how much do you think it costs that Jaguar with all the sensors and stuff all in?
Well, I mean, it probably costs about $200,000. Oops. It probably costs about $200,000 for the car, but the problem is they're not manufacturing it at the facility. They have to make the car, send it to Waymo to be remanufactured, then they have to remanufacture the car. It's a lot slower, more cumbersome of a process. That's why they only have about 1,000 cars out there, as opposed to Tesla's making, 466,000 cars a quarter, or really 500,000 cars a quarter. So, I mean, there's a huge advantage. And when you're talking about deep learning, that is really the key here. The breakthrough in why these cars are able to drive isn't sensing, it's not the new cameras, it's not LiDAR. it's really in deep learning.
Whoa.
And when it comes to deep learning, having a ton of data is better than having a ton of sensing.
Uh-huh.
Because that's what allows it to learn, what allows it to have that model that is going to perform really well.
When do you think that moment, Elon always talks about the moment of like when we have the greatest asset value increase in history, and he switches it on full self-driving like for every single car. How far away do you think we are from that moment?
I mean, I think we're pretty close. Like, you guys saw what the Waymo can do today. That's what it can do now today with a map when you're in a predefined area like San Francisco. Within, I think, 12 to 24 months, it's going to be possible to do that in a completely generalized way without any pre-mapping, using just cameras.
But you're saying Waymo could do that in 24 months or Tesla?
I think anybody could do it with just vision, without any pre-mapping, given enough data, enough time. Others might be a few years behind Tesla in getting there with just pure vision, but it's clear that all of the technical issues behind self-driving are solved. They've basically figured out how to make it work. They've proven that you can launch it, that it can be safe, and none of the issues are really with the perception system. It's really more of the thinking, the planning and control, where most of the issues still remain.
So you think there's like a lot of like commoditization coming in this?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, just look at what's happened with ChatGPT, with everything else, how open source LLMs have taken off. But in self-driving, it's harder because with the internet, you just have a ton of text data available. With self-driving, there isn't a ton of data of people driving just available in the format you need. You need to send cars out yourself to gather the data, to really test and validate the software. And that's difficult to do. It takes time, it takes money, it takes training compute, and it takes, millions of cars at the end of the day going out there finding the needle in the haystack.
This is
all the weird data that's out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's doing pretty good on this crazy little road with all this shit going on.
Yeah,
and you know what's crazy is I remember you telling me that we would be like surprised when we had an intervention in the past, because when we started doing this a few years ago, it was like always interventions.
Yeah, every few minutes.
And now we're at that moment now where it's like weird when you do have an intervention.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's crazy to like have that all happen.
So you can see it's moving over for the pedestrians there.
Such a cool view. Coit Tower, legendary SF spot. What do you think about the Tesla bot and how that plays into, because that's what the Tesla bot also is basically like learning the same way that the FSD is, where they just like show it stuff and it learns.
Yeah,
like that seems like a game change. I don't know, for the Tesla stock. Like,
yeah, the end-to-end training basically applies really well to what they're doing with the Tesla bot too. It's, to not have to explain with code how to do something, to not have to manually code each task, to be able to just show it something and it can figure it out. I mean, that's the real paradigm shift.
Oh, so now I see what you're saying. The FSD visualizations are all there.
Yeah.
On that little screen.
Yeah, exactly. And you see how it went through that roundabout and everything.
And it's not even, you're not even telling it where to go right now.
Right,
it's just going.
I just, turned off the destination, so it just went ahead.
It's just mobbing right now, like freelance. This is interesting.
So then I can give it a destination. I can say, take me to the Walt Disney Family Museum. And there we go.
Seems
It's
like
going to take me there.
Weird spot for us to want to go, but...
No, there's a ton of pedestrians.
Okay, no, I'm joking. Because I'm like the family museum.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to take it somewhere where there's a ton of pedestrians so we can test that out.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Oops, that was me. I accidentally honked. So watch this. It actually moves over for plants. There's a Waymo.
Ooh, Waymo, what's up?
2 self-driving cars passing each other on the street.
Dude, Silicon Valley is so epic.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. A lot of people don't realize how far ahead this technology is here.
And it is a beautiful day in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Shout out to Xi Jinping, who they just cleaned up the whole city for. It is beautiful out here.
Yeah, I love just sitting in the car and on FSD and just looking at the view, you know?
You know what was cool about the Waymo that I didn't think, that I kind of underestimated, was how much of a vibe shift there is when, like, you're not driving. It's kind of like when one of your friends is, like, DD and you're just, like, kicking it with all your other friends in the back, shooting the shit.
Yeah.
Like, it just, like, changes the whole vibe because you just don't care. You know it's taking you where you need to go. You know you don't need to worry about it. And it just turns into a kickback.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is fun.
It's a game changer when you remove the driver. But from a technical perspective, there actually isn't as much difference as people realize, because all you're really doing is getting interventions down below a point where you can actually handle them remotely. And so you saw like a bunch of controversy about Cruise. They got their permit pulled, and a lot of people were just saying, wow, they actually, you know, remotely intervene every 4 to 5 miles, the company confirmed.
But yeah, and everyone's freaking out about that, but I'm like, I do that when I drive my Tesla.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't need to really, you know, solve every possible thing. But if you can handle all the safety critical stuff locally on the car, you can just phone home about the stuff you're unsure about. People can give the car some help, tell it what to do. And over time, the car just handles more and more of itself autonomously and with less and less human feedback. So instead of one person driving one car, you could have, you know, one person driving 20 cars or something like that.
Totally. Beautiful.
So here's a 4-way intersection. There's someone on the scooter. There's another car.
So funny.
A pedestrian.
That guy was like, I'm not waiting for you to go.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I have another theory about Cruise too, which is they were like looking for an excuse to give up because they are spending, they're losing so much money, and I think GM is in a financially stressed position. So I think there's a big like financial component of like the headache happened where there was the controversy and someone died. Go to Rogue SF and the Y. And then like that was kind of a reason that the management team was looking for, to be like, all right, let's pull the plug on this. Like $1.5 billion a quarter is just like not the move when our other business is struggling.
I mean, I don't think they were trying to fail, obviously, but you kind of had a situation where they were actually being pushed a little bit too hard to ship, I think, because of those losses.
Yeah.
So the losses are acceptable as long as you can get investors to put money in. And so they had to show progress. They had to show that they were scaling to get that funding. And I think they just pushed maybe a little bit too hard. But really the issue wasn't any technical issue. They, you know, I took rides with them. They were always safe. I think they are getting a little bit of a bad rap because of what happened, when in reality the service worked pretty well. But the issue was the regulator said they lied to them. They said they left out like a really important part of the video.
Interesting. That seems sketchy.
So basically, like, a car hit somebody, they went flying, they went in front of the Cruise car, and the Cruise car detected that they hit the hood and stopped. But then it decided to pull over, and it pulled over and drove over the person and dragged him 20 feet.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. So, and then what happened is they showed reporters the video of what happened because they were trying to blame it on the other car. They were like, look, the person hit the other car, then went in front of us. But they cut out the part where they pulled over, you know?
Which literally sounds like out of like a fucked up horror movie.
Yeah, and so basically what they said is, you didn't show us the video at first where it was,
chaos on the streets.
Oh God. Yeah, they're like, you didn't show us the video at first where it pulled over. So that's why they actually pulled their permit. It wasn't necessarily because of how they handled it. But once they're like, we can't trust you, then it's like, okay, shit.
Hands are getting tired. How are your hands doing, Aiden?
All good back here.
Aiden's crushing it. Okay, I feel like I gotta give my gut take right now, which is I get car sick super duper easily, and the Tesla's FSD is a little bit jerkier than, and like less stable than the Waymo. Like, I gotta be honest, the Waymo was a little better of a ride so far.
Yeah.
As much as I'm a super Tesla fanboy, and that kills me to say. But, like, I'm trying to keep it real.
I mean,
right?
I mean, I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Tesla was doing a little bit of jerkiness there, the way it was like kind of pulling over with those tight streets and stuff. So a little bit worse performance than normal. But what you have to understand is, like, the Tesla is doing it just by looking at the road. So what it's doing is so much more of a technical challenge. It doesn't have any limits. It doesn't have any map boundaries. It doesn't have the answers, right? Like, the Waymo has all the answers in the map. It knows how everything is. It knows how to make the turns. It knows exactly where it is on the map. The Tesla has to figure it all out just by looking at cameras. And that's a handicap in some way, but it means you can go out of San Francisco. I can say, take me to Palo Alto. And this thing can take me on the highway. It can take me all the way to Palo Alto.
The Waymo can't.
The Waymo just can't do that. Going to other cities. So Waymo shows that it can be done. But once you can do it with pure vision, then you can do it anywhere. The world changes overnight. You literally have millions of cars that can run this software. And with the new end-to-end training system, it's going to be a lot smoother, a lot more human-like. I mean, this isn't even the latest version of version 11. This is 11.4.4 instead of 11.4.7.3. So they've released like several new versions since then. And they also have V12. And this is still doing pretty damn good, in my opinion.
But and that's that I guess is like the key differentiator is like Waymo is in this tiny spot of downtown San Francisco. The Tesla's anywhere in the world.
Well,
so
Waymo has all of San Francisco now. You can go pretty much anywhere in San Francisco.
Okay.
Like, I brought you guys over from Noe Valley.
Yeah, like across town.
Right. But, you know, if you want to go to Stanford, if you want to go to Berkeley, if you want to go to Cupertino, Waymo's not going to take you there.
Interesting.
It's only Tesla.
I mean, it also feels like Tesla and Waymo are getting to the point of being much better than a human. Like, you can just feel it. Like, that's what Aiden and I were saying. It's like tech is about to eat such a big part of the economy with this, and it's just incredible when you like think about how early and how few cars are self-driving, but like the tech is already here, and it's like, holy shit, like this is all about to happen. And like, I don't know, it just is kind of mind-boggling to feel like we're in like this moment right before it becomes ubiquitous. And I frankly am like blown away that companies like Cruise and Waymo were able to like get good.
Yeah.
You know, like I wouldn't have expected that. I thought Waymo was like dead in the water. So I feel like I need to like eat my words on that. Be like, honestly, like they're crushing it. Like, props. And they are spending unlimited guap, but like,
I mean, their driving is good, but they haven't actually even launched to people in San Francisco. They're basically live in one city, Phoenix, right?
okay, but so that's just a closed beta that you're in. I'm also like,
I mean,
what the hell are they doing letting Omar go?
No, I mean,
They're in LA now too.
Yeah, they are in LA, so you need an invite for LA, you need an invite for San Francisco. Arizona, anyone can just download the app and use it there.
Okay.
So if you want to try it, you know, you can go to Arizona. But, I mean, you know, they're damn good, obviously. They've been doing it longer than anybody. This is what you're seeing is the result of 14 years. But then, like, you also kind of have to criticize them for, like, okay, it's been 14 fucking years and you're in one city, you know?
Yeah.
So it's good, but they haven't scaled. And that's what matters ultimately. Like, in terms of the impact they've had, like, how many crashes have they prevented? Right? Probably not that many. Because even though they're really safe, you're just not going to have that many crashes with 1,000 cars anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's just a limit to how much good they can do. With Tesla, even just with a much more primitive vision system that works anywhere, rather than just working in San Francisco, they're preventing like hundreds of collisions every day.
Yep.
So, well, in terms of the actual value to people, you got to get it out, you got to scale it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the driving's great. I mean, obviously, you know, if you added maps to this, you added a ton of sensors to localize the position, then it would mask over a lot of the flaws in the AI. But the goal is
Like
really,
Google's playing a game it knows it can win every single time. Tesla's actually like out here in the real world.
yeah, and you know, they also know where they work and where they don't work, and they don't go anywhere where they have any issues. And all of these tricks, Tesla can use them too, right? They can tell the cars where to go. People don't really care. They just want it to get to the destination. They don't care how it gets there. So you can choose the route. Tesla's already storing metadata for each location. They're tracking like where things are working, where disengagements are common, rerouting people that way. All of these same sort of techniques they can also use. But with the end-to-end system, it's not going to be necessary. Like, that's the thing. At the end of the day, you don't need mapping. You don't need to know where you are at a centimeter level. You just need really good AI. You just need really good intelligence. And you saw like all the extra sensors, all the extra hardware, all the extra cost to get the Waymo to run. Oh. And this thing can do pretty well without any of that. Yeah, it's not doing too well today.
Yeah, like, I don't know. My kind of like hot take is like, I feel that, but like, yeah, it's just not. I like as a consumer, I get the geofence part, but when it comes to the experience, like, I just don't give a fuck what the tech stack is. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? And like,
well, I mean, you care about whether you can actually go where you want to go, right?
yeah, I care where if I go, I want to go, but like, I'm already like, if it was like, I needed to call an autonomous car and I was anywhere at San Francisco, based on this experience, I'm calling the Waymo. Because like, I would get way less car sick and be way less freaked out. But I don't know. That's just, this is me like super hot take, like trying to keep it real, you know? So I'm curious, like, I don't know. It's just interesting to like, to kind of see how Tesla has like a lot of pride with the camera thing, but then Waymo's taken a different approach. And from a consumer perspective, my confidence in the system, because, you know, yeah, Waymo's glossing over all the errors and they're like making it so it only knows where it can work, but my confidence as a consumer is therefore a lot, like I have a lot more trust in the AI, or I have a lot more trust in that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the direction it's going is just pure vision, just lapping everything else. It's actually going to be able to drive, you know, much smoother than even the Waymo, just because of the amount of human driving data they're pouring into V12. It can figure out these natural moves that, like, I've already been seeing this thing do moves that Waymo just can't match. Like, just so human-like, the way it navigates through things. Right now, it's, you know, maybe not having the best showing, but I've seen it pull off some moves that are just so much more human-like than anything Waymo can do.
Yeah.
And this is just, you know, an older version as well. With V12, it's just another level of smoothness. And again, you don't need any of the sensors. You don't need any pre-mapping. You can actually have millions of cars run it overnight. I mean, even if Waymo solved self-driving 100% with no mapping today, how long would it take them to make 5 million cars? Right?
Yeah.
As opposed to taking 5 million cars that already exist and making them self-driving.
Yep.
It's a huge difference.
And it's fascinating to watch these two business models play out, because they're so different, and yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, and you know, like, just talking to ChatGPT, right? We showed it a picture of you and I said, describe what this guy is wearing. And it was able to actually understand the question. It said he's wearing a hat, his shirt says Phil J. It was able to describe everything. The way these vision AIs are going, the capabilities are just getting so much more powerful that any benefit to sort of mapping everything out is quickly actually being lost to the advantage of having more data. Like, I don't know if you were watching the wheel of the Waymo, but it's kind of like jerking around. You know,
It's like
left and right.
jiggling.
Yeah.
Or like.
Yeah, that's because it's primarily relying on the sensors to position itself spatially.
Huh.
Whereas this thing, look at how straight it is, right? So it's kind of like it has the training wheels off, you know?
Yeah.
And so I can understand, like, I understand what you mean. I feel the same way. When you're with the Waymo, you don't worry about anything. You're like, it just works. And with this, okay, so look at this. There's people crossing.
Jaywalking. got the green. I mean,
Yeah.
that was super smooth.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, if we were to say, okay, we need LiDAR, we need mapping, then we can't put this technology in some ordinary consumer's car who might have needed it at that moment. They weren't looking, they would have crashed and killed them, and it actually prevented the crash. So it's kind of like the best camera is the one you have with you.
Yep.
The best AI is the one you have with you. And their ability to understand these camera scenes is just like taking off like crazy. Like, sure, the Waymo has that much of it, has a little bit of an advantage, but is it really that dramatic of an advantage that you think that with V12, V13, they couldn't overtake it?
I just am going off what I'm seeing now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to like give credit for something that doesn't exist yet that I haven't felt myself. And as like a non-tech savvy Tesla consumer who is like always like so the flip side is like I use FSD in Seattle all the time now. Like
Yeah.
I actually use it. Like it used to just be a lot of interventions. Like Seattle's a really tricky like urban area. Like every street's a one way, but it's a two way. And there's parked cars on each side and there's roundabouts and it's just really hard.
Yeah.
And now I use it all the time in Seattle because I just like it's a more stress-free way to drive. And it like is really fun to show my friends and it's super useful and I actually use it a lot.
Yeah.
So that has been giving me like a lot of like bullishness on what Tesla's doing of like Gally as a consumer who drives like a grandma and is cautious AF is now using Tesla FSD all the time. And I'm like a laggard in that way. So I'm like hella impressed with Tesla's progress in that because I've literally owned the car and felt like I feel the usefulness go up to where it's actually adding value. It's not just me testing it to like make a video anymore.
And you know, you would probably love to use Waymo, except you can't.
Yeah.
It's just not in Seattle. And that's a direct result of the tech decisions they've made. So I know it's like really hard for people to understand. They're super skeptical of the vision-based approach, but that's what has actually allowed people to use it all over the country, right?
Yeah.
And get good at things all over the country where Waymo isn't even trying those certain types of obstacles that are in Seattle. Whereas FSD, they have to handle the whole
Like
world.
look at this right here.
Yeah,
Pretty
people
good.
crossing.
And okay, I want to talk about Grok plus Tesla bot because that seems like Tesla, you know, this technology, this is a robot that just has wheels on it, and that whole theory of but now the AI, like all this data and all this stuff they're doing when they repurpose it into a robot that looks like a human and then also has the AI of the mind of Grok, like that is out of control to me. Like I feel like that is going to be much bigger deal than cars. That's going to be a much bigger deal than energy. That's going to be Black Mirror. That's really going to change like the economy and what it means to be human and touch our lives in a weird way. Because this is dope, but it's just like, okay, like I'm still going to get in a car and go where I need to go. I just don't need to drive, and that's awesome. It's a huge problem and it's a huge opportunity and it's going to save a bunch of lives in terms of the safety of the roads. But like the way what it means to be human and live on Earth changes, and we have humanoid robots and we need to have UBI because every job's obsolete and you can just talk to your humanoid robot. It's your friend, it's your therapist, it's your doctor, it's your everything. And I'm just curious what you think about that, because I feel like that's the biggest change ever as a Tesla shareholder since I've been following the company 12 years. The biggest change ever is when they said now we're making robots that look like humans instead of just transportation and energy.
I mean, and you got some pedestrians crossing. I mean, this is like, you know, it can save someone's life if they don't see somebody. And this is in millions of cars. But yeah, I mean, like generally, I think the trend you're seeing is towards any economically valuable work a human can do being automatable. Even things that required creativity, even things that required a human body, it's now possible to automate it with a machine. You can have a Tesla bot, use it, have language skills that are on par with the humans. They can talk to somebody, they can convince somebody. You just heard that AI making a sales call.
Yeah,
you know,
that was
you could
crazy.
have a Tesla bot go and walk through a convention and try and sell your product to people. You could have it go do a chore. You could have it help install, you know, cable. Pretty much anything a human can do, software is going to be able to handle it.
We kind of blow through a stop sign.
Yeah.
Or it was. It's kind, and I don't know. I'm always like Tesla to 10 trill. Like that was like the new, like my new theory. And I feel like that the Tesla bot, that's what creates the biggest company in the world. That's Tesla to 10 trill. It's like, I don't know, just in terms of the nerdy economic side of it, it's hard to even fathom. It's like every economist and financial analyst's like most like, oh my God, like epic scenario. You know what I mean? It's like, wait, we could literally like automate every single job. This is going to touch every single part of the economy. This is going to disrupt everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit. It's even like, it's hard to even, and we've always been hearing about AI, and now the fact that it's like all happening and it's in the form of this like Tesla bot, like bringing the AI out of your phone into something that can walk and navigate the real world is a big step that OpenAI doesn't have yet. You know, so that's why it feels like the Tesla bot combined with Grok, combined with Neuralink to like essentially control your fleet of Tesla bots in the world and just think like, I want my Tesla bots to build this, you know, and then yeah, I can just, if I have enough economic resources, I could have an army of Tesla bots instantly build me a factory to do whatever the fuck I wanted. Like, it's hard to even fathom how crazy all that is.
Yeah. It'd be a very different type of economy than anything we've ever seen before. Yeah, pretty much.
Like, does it scare you?
No, I think it's going to be great. I think it'll solve a lot of problems. I mean, all technology has good sides and bad sides, but I think it'll probably do a lot more good than it'll do bad. People tend to be focusing a lot on the negatives right now and not, you know, deaths being prevented, disease being cured, things like that. I mean, we're really looking at an inflection point in the economy. Companies could really run almost entirely autonomously.
Golden Gate Bridge. This is beautiful. Dude, San Francisco is incredible right now. Like, this looks like out of a movie.
So check this out. You got pedestrians.
Just like such a shit
You got
show.
animals. You got people.
And now, like, this is hella funny. The pedestrians are like waving you along. It's like, these people just walking in the middle of the road. This douchey Corvette just swooped past. There's no sidewalk here. It's just like a shit show.
You got kids.
This is pretty intense.
Yeah. And look, it can handle this with just computer vision. So what can't it handle if it can handle this? You got cars
This is
coming multiple
just
directions.
iconic right now. Golden Gate Bridge. Dude, for all the hate that people give SF, like, this is just feels like the future is being built here and happening here every time I come. It's amazing.
San Francisco is incredible. People like paint it like it's this hellhole on the internet, and it's pretty nice.
That's how I feel about Seattle too. Like, everyone's like, oh, Seattle? It's like, dude, Seattle's like beautiful. What do you think about FSD getting licensed to other automakers? Because I know that's like a theory that a lot of people have of like a huge cash flow business model move.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else really like this. If you want to license a system that can drive the car using just cameras at scale, there's basically nothing out there except Teslas. So it's the lowest cost solution by far. It's the simplest solution by far. It has so few requirements that, I mean, it's kind of like superchargers versus Electrify America. You know how the superchargers are like 5 times cheaper? It's the same thing. You can basically build 5 cars for the price of one Waymo.
Mm-hmm.
So if both have greater than human safety, I mean, it's just a no-brainer. Both have the same cash flow generating capability, but you can put 5 cars on the road for the price of one and get essentially 5 times the revenue.
Yeah, it's a game changer. And it's like, if you think about it from a business model perspective of Tesla, they put all the cost into training this. Like, they're already super profitable. they put all the cost into this. It's a pure margin play. If they have if they license this out to someone, it's like we're talking about billions and billions of incremental free earnings overnight.
So I think that's
people
like the
walking,
crazy. You got cars, and it's got to make an unprotected left.
Baller.
Yeah.
And for all the shit we've been giving the car, being like, oh, it's not smooth, like I'm car sick. It's like I barely have had any interventions. I'm actually trying to think if we even had an intervention.
Yeah.
Maybe like one or two, and like barely at all. So it's still crushing it, and we did the hardest parts of San Francisco.
I mean, it's getting pretty powerful now.
It's like
oftentimes I don't have to make any corrections to it. Today it just hasn't been good for whatever reason. I think there's a lot of people out walking too, and then maybe the sun was affecting it. But for whatever reason, it hasn't been doing as good. But it's getting insanely powerful. Like, I 100% believe that this is going to get actually beyond what any other system can do, regardless of sensor suite. It's just trending in that direction with the way the end-to-end system is trained.
Is that just data? You're talking about the data advantage?
Exactly. I mean, they don't explicitly program any behaviors in. It's just watching humans. And the way, some of the maneuvers it does are just so human-like. You can really see the benefit to this approach. The fact that you have so much data with that approach, it makes a huge difference.
I thought it was close to the side there because I freaked out.
Yeah,
I'm scarred because I feel like my FSD gave me rim rash a couple times, like early in the days. And then it's just a jarring experience.
Yeah, it actually knows where it is pretty much. It doesn't really do that anymore. It's gotten much better now.
Yeah, I haven't had rim rash or FSD rim rash in years.
It was just more making sure that it had a gap to the car that was traveling the other direction.
Yeah.
Alright, so here you got a tight road, you have a biker. Notice how it doesn't try and go around him on the blind corner.
Which I wouldn't do either. Like, this is what I would do if I was driving. It's like, honestly, let's just chill. Like, what,
Yeah, but it should go around him.
Eventually.
At the right time. But it can wait a little bit.
Dude, I think it's gonna be a game changer. Like, it's kind of corny, but like the ultimate bro feature. Also, this is a really smooth pass.
Yeah.
Of just like having a beer in your car.
Yeah.
And just like chilling and like really letting the car, like, you have no rights. You know what I mean? And like you're just kicking back in the car with your friends, like having a beer. And that's gonna be like a crazy moment, I feel like. That's like what I'm waiting for true self-driving. Like, that's when I know it's here. Like, I'm kicking back, me and my boys are having beers in the car.
I tried to have a beer in the cruise and they got mad at me.
Oh, I think I saw that. Dude, I love how
they told me they were going to kick me up. Yeah. Yeah, actually somebody told me they wanted me to try having a beer in it. So I might be one of the first people to drink in a self-driving car.
Wow.
But Cruise wasn't having it. Apparently it's still illegal.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
The first legal hot box, I feel like that's got Omar written all over it. This is cool. Just taking us there. And we were 409, now it's 408, ahead of schedule.
Yeah. When we raced them, this one came in before the Waymo or the Cruise.
Oh, when you did a race?
Yeah, we raced all three of them. We actually ended the race right here. And the Tesla came in first. It didn't require any takeovers. Neither did the Waymo or Cruise. And but the Tesla got here almost twice as fast as the Cruise did.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how was Cruise? Because I never did the Cruise. You did Cruise. How is the Cruise comparing to the Waymo and stuff?
It wasn't as good as Waymo, but it was almost the same experience. Mm-hmm. Like, it was pretty good. It would get you from point A to point B reliably. But the thing is, it would only work after 9. So I wouldn't have been able to call you guys a Cruise like I called you
9
Waymo.
p.m.?
Yeah. So basically, when there's like no traffic in SF from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., that's when it would operate.
Uh-huh.
So the Waymo is, easily the most capable thing out there that I've ever seen.
What is Google saying about Waymo? I haven't been following.
I mean, they're not saying anything. It's
They
kind of just,
super slowly roll it out.
I mean, it's kind of just not that well managed of a company. It's a great engineering marvel, but in terms of actually becoming a business success, I have a hard time seeing how they actually make it a business success.
I would kind of push back on that because I just feel like they're being cautious, and I think it's easy to see how it's a business success eventually when they just like slowly expand, slowly bring it out of beta. They're just taking a super slow and methodical approach because it's such a risky new technology.
But I mean, it's been 14 years. At the end of the day,
that's okay.
I mean, you still need to make money.
It took
right?
Tesla, 14 or whatever, depending on when you count that they're founded, 10, 12 years to make a profit. So, I don't know. I'm like, if Waymo didn't blow me away and they still didn't have a way to do the rides, I'd be like, okay. But I feel like the pace of progress commercially is actually starting to happen, which is interesting.
I mean, I took my first Waymo ride in like 2020 or 2021. So it's taken a long time for them to scale. Even here in San Francisco, it's still not to the point where your average person can actually take a ride. So I think this approach where you just keep a human behind the wheel until you can truly drive anywhere without it, without any pre-mapping, this is actually the easiest way to scale it by far, because you already have people testing it everywhere. Waymo may work, in Phoenix or in San Francisco where they've done a lot of testing, but there's like thousands of cities out there where they need to work and where they need to handle all the idiosyncrasies. That's really what's needed to have a business make money at scale. You need to be able to have a lot of cars, spread the development cost of the last 14 years out over all these cars, all these cities, to really be able to take over the market. Because, even if you have a wait time of like 10 minutes or whatever, and often the Waymo does have a much longer wait time than Uber today, people are just going to call the one with less wait time. They're not going to wait an extra 10 minutes for it to be autonomous.
Mm-hmm.
So the technology is important, the autonomy is important, but the whole business is important. Production's important, coverage is important, wait times are important, cost is important, service and charging is important. You need to hit all of them to actually build a real Robotaxi business.
What about the Waymo Rivian collab?
Yeah, I mean, I think they should do one, but it really doesn't really make a difference what the vehicle is, whether it's a Jaguar or Rivian or whatever. The key really is, can you actually just build the Waymo technology into the car at the factory, eliminate the second manufacturing step, and just put it in the production line? If they could do a deal with Rivian or someone else where they said, well, Rivian isn't even that high volume, so it would have to be someone who could really make millions of cars, and they said, we're just putting this into every single car. It's getting really close to shit today. I don't know why. Then maybe that could be something. But yeah. That's really the key, is just getting a ton of cars out there. Because until you get tons and tons of cars out there, you don't really know how safe the thing really is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if there's some rare thing that only happens once every million miles that you just haven't found out about yet.
What do you think of model Robotaxi?
I think what they decided is they're going to build both. So they're going to build one with controls, one without controls. And they're going to build it in Austin and Berlin and build it on the same production line. So on the same production line, they'll make a compact car with controls and one of the cars without any controls.
And what is it going to look like? Like, does it look like a little cyber? Because what I've heard and what the gossip is from Franz is like, it's more like radical. It's not like, it's more like how a Cybertruck is so different. I don't know if it'll be cyber-esque, but I think that would be cool. But it's going to be a lot different than like a normal Toyota Camry looking car.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be something different than really we've ever seen before. Elon did say on the earnings call it'll be like more conventional than a Cybertruck, but I think they've like talked about, you know, and Isaacson had a sketch in his book where he basically showed off like it looked like almost one row of seats with like one door or like two-door car, and you know, you kind of just got in there like it's a smaller vehicle, which is kind of interesting because you look at what Cruise and others had been doing, and they'd really been imagining these autonomous vehicles that were like a big van with 4 people facing each other. But I think a smaller personalized car that could just take 1, 2, or 3 people, like that could probably eat most of the rideshare market. Because you think about it, a car that has a capacity of like, let's say 2 or 3 can probably generate almost as much revenue as a higher capacity car, because most rideshare rides are like 1.2 people.
I think 80% of rides are like 1 or 2 people.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, dude, Uber Pool, bro. I'm trying to share a ride with some like douchebag who's on his phone the whole time, or like, then I can't be on the phone because like, and then I can't, I don't know. I just feel like it's like way, like the whole Uber Pool days and like apps like Via were hella funny, and the social dynamics were like super funny. Whoa, this is crazy. Anyway, so model Robotaxi, I mean, in some ways, the entire vision of Tesla and their transportation as a company boils down to that Robotaxi product.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that is the car that they sell 10 million of. That is the car that electrifies and autonomifies the roads. That's all the R&D they've been doing of everyone's like, oh, it's a 100,000 car for rich people. Well, now it's a ride for 10 cents a mile. Or 20 cents a mile that touches everybody and truly changes the world. And the fact that they're already profitable without even that like everything in Tesla's like was boiled down to that game-changing form factor of the 3-person autonomous car that changed. Like, I don't know, I'm pumped because I feel like if you're a long-term Tesla investor, it's all been boiling down to that. Like,
yeah, a $25,000 autonomous electric vehicle that anyone can buy. I mean, with the EV tax credit, it's going to go down to like $17,500, and I think it'll be driverless out of the box, even for someone who pays just $17,000. So this is going to be a total paradigm shift. Like, we've seen that this is possible now.
It's like the car that changes the world.
Yeah, like Waymo shows me that the technology is actually there. You can actually do this with today's technology, with the way AI is taking off. And now somebody just needs to bring it to the mass market, right? It's kind of like the iPhone wasn't the first smartphone. You had the BlackBerry, you had like the Palm Trio and other devices like that. See how it's managing this narrow street here with just vision? It's waiting for that car to pass. And now that they're gone,
yes, man,
slipping through.
But I think also people would never have to buy a car again. Like potentially, like all that capital that people are spending to maybe use a car every once in a while, pay for insurance. Like you're filling up a ton of capital in the system to then go to other things, and you use it on a per usage basis, which frees up a lot of like economy.
It's an economic boom because I can go anywhere for super cheap, and that makes me willing to want to go places, and that's like, and I feel like that's a game changer. And then you don't have to spend 30 G's on a car. It's cheaper to get around. It's like a double whammy of economic freedom and like.
So we are Twin Peaks Tavern.
Model S, that's a wrap. Thank you, Omar. You're a legend, bro. Okay, we've decided that this is a once in a long time FSD fuck up, and like, Omar was saying this is a particularly bad drive. Aiden said it got nervous because the TVC bros were in the car. And I also am like bummed. I'm just keeping it real. I'm bummed because I wanted it to crush Waymo. But we're keeping it real, and I don't know. It's been an interesting day, I feel like. We gave it a great, honest try. So I'm hyped. Thank you, Omar. This was dope. Peace.